Say what name? We got royalty watching us do this playlist. So y'all better be careful with them comments. You hear me? Because you know the people who books we read be checking for us. I'ma show my ass this book, okay? Because I loves the way the Pointer sisters dress. So if I don't have on one of my Renee scarves, okay, and this one, I think we got one more of this particular scarf left. We have some displays, scarf shades combo on sale now at uptopbeauty.com. So if you loving the look, you better run on over there and get to it before somebody else does. But child, I'm telling you, I'm going to be showing my ass this playlist. I done went on eBay and found me some church lady hats. They coming in the mail soon. Okay, I'm finna show my ass in this book. I can't even lie. Hello, love bugs. Hello, Bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share the Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com for these Renee scarves. And if you are not already a part of this book club, please hit the Patreon link below and or the join button here on the YouTube. And for a small monthly fee of $5, you babies, yes, you can be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Shenanigans meaning my trip back home, my employment journey. Y'all, I'm telling you, this job is burning my ass up. Do you know, on my first day, by 12 o'clock, I was like, I want a nap. I need a nap. It was rough. It was rough, okay? And day 2 is even rougher. So I'm doing these intros with me and you. Look. But the review is going to be audio because I just don't have time to do it in front of the camera. I just don't, y'all. When I get my schedule together and it's solid, I'll be able to get back in front of the camera like regularly for you guys. But as of right now, this job is kicking my ass. Now, let's begin reading about Miss Ruth Pointer's Still So Excited. Now, remember, we read the Anita Pointer book. It was probably a little bit of dirt in it, but it was pretty clean, you know. But I'm glad I read that first because Ruth can't tell Anita's story. There comes a huge responsibility with being the oldest girl in the family. Word. My Aunt Wee Wee was the oldest girl. And I know she was like, wait a minute, I ain't even the oldest in this family, because my Uncle Bummer was the oldest. And he got to do whatever he wanted to do, how he wanted to do it. Okay? But my Aunt Wee Wee basically had to be the second mother, just like me. And when I look back at it, I was like, damn, Mama, you left me in charge of your child? Listen, I wouldn't even leave me in charge of a child. So, you know, I mean, I hope that explains a lot to you. I was expected to set a good example for my younger siblings and other young girls in the church. I wanted no part of that and actively resented the idea that something as random as birth order imposed higher expectations and greater responsibility on me than the ones who came after. Word. You mean to tell me just because I was born first, I got to be Super Saver Hub? The only thing I ever wanted to follow in my footsteps was my own shadow. Word. Didn't I just tell you? I wouldn't even want me to help raise me. Girl! I am so surprised that my siblings are as successful as they are. I mean, word. I consider myself a Christian today, but not the way my parents were. As I get older, I understand the issues and circumstances they had to deal with in raising 6 children. They did the best that they could with the knowledge they had. So did I. My parents made me accompany another family to National Church of God convention in Houston. I wasn't much for going to begin with. And then on the eve of our departure, I received news that my close friend, Carl Donahue, had just died. I was very distraught and begged my parents to let me stay home, but they wouldn't hear of it. Back then, no one in our neck of the woods had money for a plane ticket, so we made the 1,900-mile trek by car. I cannot begin to tell you how miserable the seemingly endless drive was. Hold on. So it was 6 kids and 2 adults. When we arrived at the Rice Hotel in Houston, racism reared its ugly face. Told that while we could attend the daily convention sessions in the ballroom, we were not welcome to stay at the hotel. So we had to stay in the Texas Southern University dorms all the way across town. Daddy made $85 a week, and Mom added a few more bucks to the till after she was ordained and became assistant pastor. We were poor ghetto kids and did all our shopping at the Salvation Army, Father Divine's thrift store, and at the church pastor's aid contributions. So pause. This is a question that I have, because she said earlier that her father was a snazzy dresser. I'm not sure whether she's talking about in the past or, like in current times as we're reading. Because right now it feels like she's saying that her father dressed well. I ain't talking about, Sergio Valente suits and Yvonne Picon suits. I'm talking about just nice, because he was the minister of the church and he was expected to dress nice. But everybody else in the family had to go to the Salvation Army or the thrift store. So I don't know if that's what she's saying and she's not really presenting it. I don't know. I don't know exactly what's happened. Looking back, my mother sacrificed the most. I know she struggled and never really asked for much. I remember one holiday season when the suggestion was made that the congregation purchase a new outfit for my mother to wear. They literally had to vote on whether to provide her with a new dress. The vote ended up in favor of the idea, but it still sticks in my gut that it wasn't unanimous. I can dig it, but what still sticks a little bit in my gut is the father, because the ministers got to dress nice. They can't get up there in no men's warehouse and expect for the ladies to be like, oh yeah, I want to keep giving them my money. They gotta look nice. A lot of congregations in churches like Pastor Jamal Bryant's and Creflo Dollar, they want their minister to look like cow. They want their comp to lean. So I don't know. I'm just baffled. Put down below what you guys feel about it. Despite the family's tight finances, on my 13th birthday, Daddy wheeled in an upright piano. I started taking piano lessons and kept it up several years. The excitement eventually wore off, though, as my intensely wandering mind prevented me from getting into practice mode, a problem that followed me into adulthood. Plus, I suspected my dad had plans for me to become the next church pianist. No, thank you. But my sisters and I sang in the church choir from the time we could walk. Of course. The hell you think? You think I'm going to have daughters here that can sing and not use them? Before long, our interest in music expanded and proved too strong for our parents to tamp down. My attention and interest increasingly shifted from home and church to mainstream culture and social life when I became a teenager. I got introduced to other kinds of music while visiting my girlfriend, Marjorie Dangerfield, expanding my taste beyond Elvis. Marjorie and I met in church when we were in our teens. She visited one Easter Sunday and smiled at me as if she already knew me. That smile lit up a room. Once we struck up a friendship, I wanted more friends. I became notorious for inviting myself to other people's home after church and would walk right up to interested prospects and ask, "Can I go home with you today? What we having? You say we having chicken? Hold on, let me see what Shirley having. If Shirley ain't doing better than chicken, then I'm going to your house." My other friend, Paulette Holloway, helped me in my discovery of the sonic joys of the Temptations, the Supremes, Martha Reeves and the Mandelas, Junior Walker and the All-Stars, the Chantels, James Brown, Ray Charles, and Little Richard. Even Red Fox comedy records, which might still be considered taboo today. Ooh, y'all might hate me for saying this, but I love you. I love y'all. But to me, Red Fox wasn't that funny. He just had a nasty ass. Oh, I'm sorry. Stand-up just wasn't that funny. He just cussed a lot. I don't know. He just cussed a lot. And I'm telling you, after years of doing these book reviews, sometimes when I look at my old reviews and I'm cussing a lot, I cringe. So that's part of the reason why I'm doing the Robin Crawford book over. It's going to be the next book after this. And you know, as a child, listening to somebody cuss is so intriguing. And I have no idea why. It's like, he said that. Daddy became a fixture at almost every party I attended. At these get-togethers, music was played and young people slow danced and kissed with the lights dimmed. That is, until Daddy do a walkthrough with his police-sized flashlight shining it in people's faces looking for me. It wasn't long before someone would turn to me and say, "Your daddy's here." Daddy became such a fixture that when on that rare occasion he didn't show up, people asked why he wasn't here. His manner wasn't offensive, and everybody loved him and accepted the situation for what it was. A daddy who was protecting his daughter. Okay, yeah. Remember that time I told y'all that I snuck out the house to go to the black hole and my mammy chased me down the street in some heels and she almost had my ass if it wasn't for the fact that her heel broke? Like, wait a minute, I barely know your ass. You barely here. I don't even know you. But I left my sister in the house by herself. She came home. How was I supposed to know that you was coming home today? She came home and found my sister by herself. She walking down the street. I'm coming out of the black hole, kikiing and laughing, ha, 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 with a friend of mine. Soon as I seen her, I turned on my heels and pew, she was on my ass. I didn't come home that night. I told y'all I was trying to run away from responsibilities at all times. When a male suitor called on me at home, the door had to be left wide open in whatever room we occupied. Needless to say, the bedroom was strictly off limits. My father loved me and I him. But man, he was pure hell on a girl's burgeoning social life. It must have been one of those few times he wasn't my shadow that I met Larry Woods. He was a neighbor of Paulette Holloway who hosted a lot of the parties I attended. Larry was the one all the girls fantasized about. 6'3", 160 nicely sculpted pounds, and medium brown complexion with slightly tinted red hair cropped tight. Always dressed in flamboyant Beatles style and colorful silk mohair suits, skinny neckties, and San Remo shoes. Larry also happened to be the best dancer on the floor and never failed to turn female heads and hearts, especially mine. I don't understand why dancing got some girls. I don't understand that. That's like, I don't get that. That don't impress me when you can dance. Now, I like to look at it. You know, I like to be entertained by it. But that don't mean you about to take me down, you know, the best way, because you can dance on the floor. Larry looked so divine. Daddy would have said right off that he was really the devil in disguise. This time the Reverend Pointer would have hit it square on the head. I don't like talking about my first marriage. More than taking my sexual innocence, it took my vulnerability and kicked it around like a rag doll. I can't blame him entirely. He excited me, and I fed on that excitement like a vampire sucking the lifeblood out of its victim. He moved sensually. He looked good. Like most enticements, what you see isn't necessarily what you get. He was taboo, and I was ripe for rebellion in the guise of love. The warning signs were there long before we married. In fact, they stood out like neon-lit billboards on a dark highway, like the time his own mother essentially told me what a no-good son of a bitch her son was. Pause. I was messing with this dude named, I don't know if he dead or alive, okay? What I do know is that I was messing with, he was another uptown dude, right? And I was over his house. And the dude left me there. I guess he was running the streets and he left me there. It's funny how it's like street dudes would leave you in their house. As a grown woman, I would never leave you in my house. You might steal something. I'm going to tell y'all that story too one day when I was messing with this dude and I didn't even leave my house. I just went in the bathroom and the dude stole my prescriptions. I woke up. The dude was gone. I went downstairs, sat on the couch. And his mother said, "Let me tell you something, young lady. Don't you ever chase no man. You understand me?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." She was like, "No. Do you really understand me? Don't you ever, ever, ever chase no man." The mother was like a young mother. Like she had to be at least like 32 or 35, something like that, was like 17. All I knew was when I went back upstairs and got my clothes on, when I left out that house, because I wasn't about to sit there all day and wait for her son to come home. I left because that ain't my home and I had other shit to do. Okay? Like, I don't know, go back to Morton Street where I belong. I'm going to tell you this. I never saw that dude again. Not that he didn't reach out for me. It was more so the words that his mother had said to me stuck with me. Now, I ain't saying I ain't never chased a dude after that, because when I got in college, I was hooked on this dude that looked like Ice Cube, okay? I mean, hooked. But I didn't chase that dude anymore, and I don't think I ever was chasing him. It was just something that his mother saw fit to tell me. Okay, maybe she tell that to all the dummies that wake up in his abode or her abode, because he was still living at home with his mama. You know, when I think about it, I'm like, well, wait a minute. Did he live with his mama? Because for real, he could have been living with his girlfriend and just using his mama's house still. I don't know why you're with him, child, she said early in our relationship. That boy ain't going to amount to nothing. Mama knew best. But I was 18 years old, in love and in proper lust for the very first time. My parents drummed into me that if you had sex, you got married. Well, Larry and I had sex. That is all it was. No fireworks, no violins, no making love. It happened in his parents' basement where he slept. It felt like a dungeon down there, dark, dirty, and smelly. His folks didn't know what to do with Larry after he dropped out of high school, so they simply stuck him there out of the way. Girl, well, I mean, if you ain't gonna do nothing, go down there with the rest of the people under the stairs. The sex felt like an out-of-body experience. I was there physically, but mentally and emotionally, I had checked out. It was quick, passionless, and over before I knew it. Larry was a lousy lover, but biology is a strict, cold science that doesn't take such things into account. I soon learned that I was pregnant.
Say that you love me. Okay. But I don't believe it. I don't believe you. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. Yes. Oh, you say that you love me. Yes, but I don't believe that shit. Oh, I don't believe you. You out here playing with these other bitches. Yeah. Oh, baby. Two